またあなた。またいいのぶなだ。
遅くにいらしても温かいコーヒーを楽しんでいただけますよ。またどうぞ。
勝ったら
あなたさ
1番号1。私は命令を。今日の占いは2強を示すべし。姉弟子参上です。この気を逃さず。耐えてみせる。見切った。さちれこたびも私が勝つ。耐えてみて。私を呼んだ。勝利は私。月城アンビ。今日の占いは2強を示すべし。
Oh, I see. So I need 3,400 attack to
to max out my crit damage bonus. Okay. So I need six iterations of 100 attack more. So I need 34. Okay, so that's why people are using attack percent on this one, simply because they want to get to that threshold. Okay, it's understandable. I can see why some people do crit rate, but so that because like she's boosting crit damage, so if she has a high enough crit rate, she can actually do damage herself. But realistically, yeah, you really want to max out that bonus. Oh wait, what? Oh god damn it! Oh shit! I thought I had an extra one of those. I needed that. Fuck. Okay, well, fuck. Shit. Well, whatever. I'll find another one, I guess. I don't know what these are. Like, because like before what you could do, before it was always like the most current one. But now that I've like unlocked everything, like these aren't the most current one. They're like that is not even, those are some random materials. Like every single one of these three is completely different from this and this, right? Like, so there's these, which are completely different. Well, except the pot in the middle, this one was the same, but like the first and last one was different. The first and second one are different in this one. And literally, well, actually, no. Literally, well, I mean, the difference between, there's literally no similarity between these two. But this one has the same pot at the bottom that this one has at the top. So I'm just like, what the? This is really hard to do. Simply because I don't know. What, like, it seems like I have to do like everything. It seems like I have to send out my guys for like literally everything. And what's really kind of annoying about that is that like when I go into here and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll look at the last one. Like, oh, here's the materials. Like, what the fuck does that make, right? Like, I think the biggest problem with turning in shit at this point is I don't know what anything makes anymore. You know? Like, I don't know. There's no easy way to turn those materials into what craftable thing it is. Like, so basically, if I want to make something, I would have to then go look up. I have to go into here. I have to remember every single thing that's appearing there, which is fucking annoying. Like, you're just thinking, okay, so there's that pot, there's that tea thing, there's the lotus thing, but like, so they're all so fucking varied. And then I have to be like, okay, well, based on that, I need to go and be like, so it's like this. It's like, okay, so I need those materials. And actually, realistic, I should probably just go to the crafting one so I can see it. So it's like, oh, okay, so like, to make this, I would need those materials. So I could like buy those materials. But like, that's the thing, is I don't know how to make this. Right? Like, let's see. So just tell me there. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I can make this in here. So just tell me. Yes. Okay. So I can go here and get that, but like that's only the third one. So like my thought was like, oh well, maybe all of those are the last one, right? Like maybe if I do the super secret one at the end, that's where I can get all these bits and bobs. Like this one. No, it's the middle one. Although actually, it seems like the middle one is actually the last one as well. So like, sure, I could do that. It just becomes really difficult because like they're always asking for like so many different things, and essentially, like the fact that this is asking for everything, like everything between these two are 100% unique. It means that like I would need to send them out on. I would need to send like, basically every single one of those needs an adventure. Like it needs someone to go out and get their material, right? So I would need my 3 adventurers to go out and get the materials for those 3 things, and then this one's completely different. So I would need to send 3 separate ones. I can only send 4 at a time. So I guess realistically, what I should do is once I have enough coins, like once I have enough of those coins, basically stop selling. So I'll stop selling these and just only accrue materials. Accrue materials and craft. So craft a shitload of stuff. Craft a shitload of everything, basically. Like basically go through every single zone. Go through every single zone and have my adventurers like get everything. So it's like, yes, have a 20-hour session where it's like, yeah, 20 hours for each one of those things while consistently crafting and like not selling anything. And then by that point I would have enough coins. But the thing is, so I think this is a monthly thing because I think it did. Actually, no, I think we set slightly before a month. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure about this. I'm not quite sure when this reset, but generally that's kind of annoying because like it would require me 3 days, or it would require me a day for every single one of these. So it's nine days to have everything. But then And like, honestly, I don't need a 20-hour session. I could do 12-hour sessions. I could do a 12-hour session in every single one of them because that would give me enough materials for every single thing. And like, if I'm like being super honest, I do have enough of this shit where I could just like buy one of everything here, and I could craft one of everything, or craft a certain amount of everything. Hard to say. I don't know how much. I don't know how much like buying one of these. So I have enough of the various parts to buy one of everything. But you know, I whatever. I don't care enough really. Okay, now let's do. Oops, not there. Here. Now let's do Lycaon's character list. Yeah, I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I've done everything. Like, I don't think there's a Genshin event currently going. Honkai Star Rail has a few things, but like, there's the story, and I don't really want to do the story while I'm working out because that's like too distracting, and like, it makes me like I want to play for an extended period of time, and I can only walk for an hour, so it's better to do something that's a little more segmented in its content, which these quests are. You know, they're segmented into 3 parts, and even still, like, I don't really feel like. I mean, obviously, unless I'm in the middle of combat, I would obviously have to continue it and beat it. But at any point, essentially, I can just kind of be like, okay, I'm gonna take a chill pill and just take a break. But anyway, like, the main point is I want to clear all the character quests for this game. And like, I did all the character quests. I already did Skirk's character quest in Genshin. And I guess I was being treated separately. So like, yeah. So, and like, I think I'm the only reason I don't have a platinum trophy for this game is simply because there's a bunch of trophies that you get for doing the early character quests. So like, you get a trophy for every single character quest you do. So even in this current patch, like, so basically they introduced new trophies for like major patches, I think. I don't think it's for every patch. Maybe it's for every patch, but at the very least they do introduce new sets of trophies every now and then. But they always have whatever character quests are involved with that patch as a trophy. So you can't get 100% if you don't do them, and I do want to do them, but like, I was just so far behind in everything. Like, and I was doing all the other like little random quests because I was trying to like 100% my HDD area. Like, when I'm looking at the places, it's like, oh, you only have this many stars and this many stars. I'm like, huh. And I was like, oh, I want to complete them all. It's like, be done, you know. And then I noticed I'm still missing some. I'm like, how am I still missing some? And I'm like, oh, it's the character quests. Doing these character quests, when they take me into the HDD, they still count as like, they still count towards the total for that chapter. So it's like, I won't even know what I'm missing until I do these quests. And then it does seem that there are actually some quests that are like locked behind some of these character quests. I don't know why, like, but like, I think I did Kaleida's quest, and then like another quest popped up. And like, it's weird because it didn't actually directly relate to it. Like, it wasn't like, oh, because you did this thing with Belobog, this Belobog related thing quest appeared. It's like, no, you did this, you did Kaleida's quest, and then it's like, hey, we have another quest for doing some other random thing. Like, I don't know why you would lock it behind there, but so it's hard to say. Like, it's hard to say that the missing things are completely due to the character quests I haven't done yet, or if there are little side quests that are locked behind the character quests I haven't done yet. So either way, more reason to do it. Like, I am a completionist, so I do want to kind of finish all the character quests. Finish all the character quests, make sure I've done all like little random side quests. Then basically once you're caught up, then it's much easier to keep up to date, right? Because like, it would just be like, oh hey, you know, Jufufu's quest came out, just make sure to do her quest within 3 weeks. Not hard to do. 3 weeks to do a 2 to 3 hour quest. Yeah, tons of time. you know. But because I started the game and it wasn't super fun right at the start, because like they gave you Ellen and Ellen was relatively fun to play, but like she was also kind of gimmicky because like you needed her ice blades, but you'd only really do that with her charge, with her dash and her charge attack, and otherwise she did physical damage, which is like, well, shit. You give her the artifact, you give her the equipment to boost her ice damage, but she only does ice damage during her skill and burst, which is where she does most of her damage, but then all the other shit is physical, which doesn't get a bonus from your equipment. So, and then like she works well with Lycaon and Sokaku, and I was fine with Sokaku, but I just didn't really like Lycaon's playstyle, and I also didn't have him at the start, so I was like mixing in other people, and I don't know, like attackers always kind of felt like shit to play. Like they always felt super weak, and like Ellen was not super fun to play. Ellen felt super weak, but she was like the only one I had, so I used her anyway. And then they had like Juwen, which is like also felt super weak to play. Like she's like Ether, so I'm like, oh cool, I'll have someone. I got her, so like I have someone for an Ether team. But like, yeah, she feels so weak. She feels like she takes forever to kill things. And then like Jane came out immediately after, or like shortly after. I think it was Juwen, Shui, and then Jane Doe. And like Jane Doe is insanely strong. It's like, and then just introduced like, hey, yeah, Anomaly is like ridiculously powerful because they had her, then they had Yanagi, then they had Miyabi, and it's like, geez, 3 fucking Anomaly agents that were like insanely powerful, and it was like, goddamn. And attack always kind of felt like shit. Like, and then they just introduced Evelyn. Evelyn's an attacker who actually does do them damage, although mostly because of her chain attacks. And I felt like Hugo was a stunner, but then I was like, oh no, he's an attacker. Oh, because like in our trial usage of him, it was like, oh, you're Hugo, Lightning. Or Hugo, Lycon, and Lighter, and I'm like, 3 stun agents, really? And then I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. He's not a stunner; he's actually an attacker, because he did a whole thing about Totalize, which relied on being like stunned and stuff, and so it was like he was reliant on stun. But I thought he himself was a stunner, but it's like, no, he needs a stunner so you can stun, so you can get your Totalizes, and that's why the free team they gave you to like test them out during the story and stuff, involved 2 stun agents just so you made sure to be able to stun easily. But yeah, so attackers always felt weak for the longest time. Like attackers only kind of see, or actually wait, no, this is a story one. But as you can see, it's 3 red ones. So like the yellow ones were like story, the red ones were like combat, and but like you're doing these 3. Oh, I see. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah. This is the auto clear tickets and stuff. I don't know. It's kind of weird because it's like, yeah. So like honestly, I could use Sokaku. I could use a Sokaku Ellen. I mean, Ellen actually did get a buff, so like that actually is surprising that they gave Ellen a buff. They gave a sorry, I was gonna say a standard banner. She's not standard banner. She's limited, but they gave her a buff to make her a little more useful, a little more powerful, and do a little more ice damage, and a little easier to use her ice damage. So definitely. Oh, what? Can I not? Alright. So I can't. So, but now let's do the standard. Let's just do this team. But yeah, so they did give Ellen a boost. It was nice. Which is actually interesting because basically the boost they gave Ellen was some of the powers they gave her in the in Hollow Zero. Like some of the equipment you can give Ellen basically did exactly the same thing as her new abilities do, giving her an ice blade. So it's like, yeah, at the end of Basic 3, gave her the same thing as her Basic 3, and it was like, oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. I break these ones? No, I don't think so. But yeah, I do like his like charge attack aspect. I wasn't sure how to do it, or if I had to continuously hold it. Oh, I thought. Okay, never mind. I thought it was like the other bombs. These guys. I thought that was one of those things where it was like, oh. And it's like, I guess the biggest issue is I just never really, I didn't get Lycaon well enough. And like, I didn't use him that much, so like, the only times I ever really used him were like in, oh shit. The only time I ever really used him was like in super situations where I'm like, oh, I want to do Ellen. Wait, what? How do I get in there? I wanted to use Ellen. Just gotta go around. But like, I would only, because I didn't get Lycaon right away. That was the thing. So I didn't get Lycaon right away. So I didn't get Lycaon right away. So like I was using, I think it was like Ellen and like Corinne and Sokaku or something like that. So it wasn't a great team. I didn't have a stun at all. And so like I didn't have Lycaon. Then I finally got Lycaon, so I'm like, oh cool, I'll use him. And then he just wasn't like super. He's not super easy to use. It's not like, because like he had some whole thing where you have to like you charge his basic and charge his attack. Like you hold the button down, and you hold the button down, and then you like charge it for a little bit, and then you can like release it and do damage, and that infuses his attack with ice, which you really needed to do because you wanted to build up the anomaly gauge as well as the stun, because you wanted to trigger shatter as well. Oh, it's this girl. I see her talking with Vivian all the time. I thought it was just some random girl, but I see it's a throwback to this quest. They were assuming that. Like, the game designers probably assumed that you had done this quest, and so it's like, oh hey, it's that girl you met as part of Lycaon's quest.
マスター、このような状況に符合するジョークがあります。構造体ショップがオイルまみれになっていました。フェアリー、リリカお嬢様。リリカ？そのような名は聞いたことがない。我が名を何時らここに告げる。ボンプども、我こそはランペルージュ・アスナブール・ファントム・ハーベン・リリカ。やっぱリリカなんだ。ただのリリカではない。ランペルージュ。華美にして冗長な表現、あふれんばかりの情感。なるほど。これこそにもかかわらず、一見皆様の意思疎通に支障。そうかも。率直に申し上げることをお許しください。ですが、ここに留まり続ける。
So I guess they were always inconsistent, because I kind of thought that like there was a few character quests that kind of started a pattern of like, oh, first you do a story, and then you actually go into the hollow in the second and third chapters of the story. So it was like the first one was like a pure cutscene thing, where it's like, hey, here we're gonna build the story, and then I think like the last one, I think Coletta's one, I was like, huh, yeah, we went straight into combat right from the get-go, and so this one is as well. I believe we're still in the first chapter of 3, and we still went into the hollow. So I guess it was always kind of random, or maybe they slowly builded it up. Like maybe they built it up a bit over time. Like maybe the first few ones were like that. But even still, I think there were some recent ones too, or relatively recent, that did start the story first. So I guess it is just purely like, you know, what makes the story work, which I actually prefer. I'd rather they make a good story and tell it how it needs to be told, because like I think an issue that kind of Wuthering Waves has is it feels like Wuthering Waves being a combat game feels like it has to like inject combat into like everything, so like they inject it far too frequently, where it's like it doesn't really make sense this frequently. Like you should first make a good story and then see where it would make logical sense for combat. So for this, you know, like if this game was like, no, we have to have a hollow excursion in every chapter of the story, or we can only have a hollow excursion in the second 2 chapters, we can't have it in the first one, that would limit you. And you could make a worse story because of these arbitrary limits you place on yourself. So I'm fine with them like varying it, you know, because it shows that they, you know, they don't feel constrained to keep it formulaic. They can, you know, vary it as the story demands.
あなたたち、やっぱり物事の上辺しか見えてない。残念だわ。真実というのは往々にして表層には宿らないものなのに。
インターノットにあの投稿をされたのも。
投稿？何のことかしら？
啓示の日、残月が燃ゆる時、我へ。やめて！どうしてそ
織に加わりたいと思ってもきっと最初の選考でお祈りされるわね。もっともあなたみたく融通の利かない人を組織は相手にもしないでしょ。
お嬢様、その
組織は組織よ。この絵を盗むことが組織から私に課せられた入団試験だったの。この試験をパスすれば晴れて彼らの仲間入り。まあ偶然パパとママの持ち物がターゲットになっ。入団試験で人に泥棒させる。もちろん怪盗団よ。新エリートで一番有名な怪盗団。
Oh, so they introduced Mockingbird even back here. God damn. I didn't even realize this was foreshadowing. I just thought it was like when Mockingbird popped up and like they did like the drip marketing for Vivian and Hugo. I just was like, oh, okay, they're gonna have a new faction. Obviously, you know, they're just gonna constantly create new factions as they, you know, broaden the world with its story. I didn't realize they introduced it all the way back here. Which, I mean, does make sense, because Lycaon was part of Mockingbird with Hugo. So it would make sense that a story quest involving him might touch the subject. But I wasn't aware that they had talked about it back then. You know, because, like, Lycaon's story could have been anything, right? Like, Lycaon's story could have been anything. It could have been like, hey, I need you to help me protect someone, do this. I need you to help with the maid association or whatever. You know, it could have been anything. Now, obviously, we want to delve more into their past, but, like, Kaleida's one didn't really delve into her past that much. It was just, like, she was going undercover at a school. Actually, I don't even know why. Like, we revealed that the school headmaster was an asshole and was doing illegal mining, supposedly to make money for his family. Although it's like, maybe don't do illegal things, you know? Don't do illegal things, forehead. So, but like, it didn't really involve Kaleida or her backstory that much. Like, maybe there's some heart-to-heart moments she had with the other children, you know? But I don't really remember learning that much about her past in that, because, like, the main story itself, we learned a lot about her past, right? Like, just doing chapter 1, I think. Chapter 1 was all about, you know, Belobog Industries, and we learned about her father and how he got corrupted in the Hollow and the shit that he did. You know, so we already kind of knew about Kaleida's past, so her character quest didn't really involve it too much. So, you know, for Lycaon, I didn't expect us to actually, like, reference this group this early. Although I'm not 100% sure when this was. Because, like... Actually, no. I guess it was before Shui's... I think... Wait, is it Shui? It's the robot girl. I think that's Shui. I think. Oh, am I getting confused? But yeah, Shui's character quest after this one. It's Lycaon's, Rena's, then Shui's. So presumably this had to have come out like 8 months ago or so. Because like I think Shui came out in like August or September, or Jane Doe was September maybe. So like Lycaon's character quest would have had to be before that, especially because there's Rena in between this and Shui's, and Shui's was the first one of that patch. Then this would have to be some sort of like July, early August release. And then like we only got, well, actually, I guess it's been a while. Like we've had Mockingbird for like 6 months or so, because like they popped up like 6 months ago as part of the story. And then like a month later, we got Vivian. And then a month or two after that, we got Hugo. And now and now they have the completely new 2.0 story and area and all that shit. So, but it is interesting. I did not expect that they would have appeared this early. See, like, this is one thing that Hoyoverse does well. It does foreshadowing well. You know? Here we have Mockingbird mentioned. We learned about how it relates to Lycaon. Later on, we actually meet people within Mockingbird. Because like we had met Hugo and Vivian while doing Astra stuff. They were in in that like theater place as part of her main story / character quest. Maybe I think it's the main story. Like they were, and then they were at the auction as well. than in the next patch. So, like, they do foreshadowing. Like, Wuthering Waves is really shit at that. Because it just feels like Wuthering Waves writers don't, like, know what the next story is going to be. Like, they only think one patch at a time. So it's like, cool, we just released this patch. Okay, what's the next patch's story going to be? And then that's basically it. They don't think many patches ahead. So they can't do foreshadowing because they themselves don't even know. Like, and realistically, you can do that, right? But the way to do it is you have to create a lot of meaningful stories all happening at once, and then picking one of those threads to develop on in a later patch. And then it retroactively becomes foreshadowing. Like, even if you didn't plan it then in that patch, if you continue the thread that you started with that patch, then it seems like foreshadowing. But they don't even do that. They're just like, nah. Like, cause as I said, they do the broad strokes very well, but they're very bad at connecting things, and that's exactly what this would need. It would need them to create a multitude of well-written threads, and then connect that thread to the current patch. But they are shit at connecting, and so they just can't. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. It'd be nice if they wrote a better story. I would still be playing the game if they told a better story. Because, like, well, I don't particularly like the combat. I can still just not engage in it for the most part. With the exception of the exploration. It is annoying that they have, like, not pushover combat. I mean, honestly, the main Renacita 2.0 had more challenging combat stuff. The other areas they introduced, the combat wasn't super challenging. Because, like, some of them are really fucking annoying, where it's like, hey, you need to get, you need to get 2 parries, and you need to do these things. And, like, the fact that they made combat challenges different, where it's like some combat challenges are, you need to kill all the enemies while satisfying these achievements, one of which is usually just, like, BS rank or something, so I guess just don't take forever. So as long as you're continue to push and continue to be aggressive in your combat, usually you'll probably get an S. But it's tough to do that while also doing the other secret requirements, like don't get hit more than 10 times, something like that, or do a certain number of dodge counters. But then there are, like, some really annoying ones where it's like, oh, and also make sure that this specific monster is the last one to be killed, and, like, it's just annoying, right? It just interrupts the flow of combat as you try to, like, navigate around the enemies to try to make sure you're killing all the other ones first, so that you can go in and kill the last one. And then they have different types of combat challenges, even though they look identical from the outside and from the overworld map. There are other ones where it's like, you're not actually expected to beat the creature. You're just supposed to do all the achievements. So if you satisfy all 3 conditions, the monster will instantly disappear. And that's the thing about it. So it's difficult. And you can't tell from the outside going in what it's going to be. Is it going to be just kill all the enemies? Is it going to be satisfy these requirements? Because, like, the requirements are usually kind of annoying too. Where it's like, oh, you have to get this many counters. You have to get this. You can't take you can't take more than this many hits. Stuff like that, which are just kind of annoying to do. Especially because, like, sometimes, like, it's the enemies. Depending on the enemies they pick for the combat challenge, it can be easier or harder than normal. Or when you have like they have a bunch of enemies in Renacita that are like, I'm going to stay in the far back and then do a plunging leap into you. So I'm going to do this, like, dive with my sword first, and it's like from a huge distance. So you're super far away, but the problem is that you're usually fighting multiple enemies. So it's like, while you're paying attention and fighting to one, the guy in the background that you're not paying attention to because he's so far away charges up this thrust attack and, like, instantly smacks you and hits you. So it's like, it's just frustrating. It's just because it's annoying. It's just annoying to do. It's not, like, super challenging. It's just annoying. Little annoyance things like that where it's like they just designed the enemies just to be annoying. Because I did that in the cube event too, where it's just like you have to fight a pile of enemies, but then there will be, like, 1 or 2 enemies that'll just be chilling in the back waiting for a thrust attack, and they stagger their timing, so it's never like 2 enemies hit you at once, so you can just do 1 dodge to dodge both of them. It's like, no, that's one goes, and then, like, half a second later the other one goes. So if you get hit by one, you're gonna get hit by the other one, or if you dodge one, you're gonna be hit by the other one. So it's like, it's just designed to be really fucking annoying. And they put that in the overworld. And it's like, well, I want 100% the overworld. That should be the easy, fun, relaxing, chill content. And if I can, I should just be able to choose whether I want to engage with the combat. But they're like, no. If you want to do the chill, fun stuff, we're going to make it slightly more annoying by adding these combat challenges. And like, to be fair, they're not super, like, difficult. But it's just like, depending on what they request, they can be annoying. Like, especially when it's like, kill specific enemy last. It's like, god damn it, like, when I'm attacking, you can't like aim and target enemies super specifically. So sometimes it'll just be that like that enemy is front and center and they just take most of the damage of your hits while the other ones are bouncing around, and so you end up accidentally killing the one you need to kill last first, or in the middle or something like that. And then you have to restart. It's just like not fun. So yeah.
ライカンさん、ひょっとして。
私とモッキンバードとの関係を、これは申し訳ございません。私の不愉快な過去については。
Okay, so this is that was the end of chapter 1. So that might be why Lilac and Vivian were talking with each other. So maybe through the course of this, she meets Vivian, or maybe Vivian is her contact. And that's why they were talking later. Because yeah, like I've maxed out Vivian's relationship, I think. And like there's lots of events involving her that just there's a lot of events involving Vivian where like you go to Lumina Square and she's talking there with Lilac. I just thought it was some like random schoolgirl. I was just like, oh, okay, she's talking with a friend, like how like Ellen talks with her school friends as part of her just random out and about things. I thought it was just like, I thought it was just kind of a little bit more about the character. Be like, yeah, look, they have friends too. I didn't realize Lilac was actually involved in Lycaon's story that also involved Mockingbird. So I guess another reason to keep up with these. Like, realistically, what I could have done is I could have, instead of doing Jufufu's one, I could have, like, started, always keep up with my backlog. So it's like, oh, I need to do a character quest. Let's do the oldest one first. But sometimes there are limited time rewards for character quests, so I want to make sure I do them while they're current, just for that as well. Also, like, I'm behind on my character quests, but there could have been some. It's just like how there's like something I missed by not doing this. I didn't realize the foreshadowing of Mockingbird. But just like how I missed the foreshadowing of Mockingbird, and that's always gonna be like, I always will have missed this. Like and if there's anything about Rena as well, like I'll miss that and Shui and all that shit. So it's like I those things are already missed. So rather than like go back and just try to make sure I catch up as quickly as I can, it's better to keep up to date and current, so that I don't miss any ongoing foreshadowing while I at a slightly slower pace, work through these. Like if I do like 2 character quests a patch, which is probably not likely the case because usually they introduce a new character quest or event for every single limited time banner. That's not a rerun. So for every new character, there's a character quest. So if I keep up with that, then I have to do at least 2 a patch. So realistically, to even start catching up, I would need to do 3 a patch. 1 for each of the limited time characters, and then 1 for a previous one. And then slowly I'll catch up. But I'm still like, I have like Lycaon's, Rena, Shui's, Bernice is one I haven't done, and Lighter. So I think I have 5. And there might be another one floating in there as well. But I'm pretty sure it's just those 5. But like, if I'm only doing 1 extra backlog patch, that's 5 patches away. That's 5 patches of progress, and each patch is like 6 weeks, so it's a month and a half. So that's like over half a year before I'll like actually have caught up. And that's assuming that I I have the spare time. And with like Wuthering Waves, that was taking up just enough extra time that I wasn't ever really able to catch up with my backlog. It was always like I could maybe keep up to date, but never do some of the stuff I had put off. Because the time I would be spending to do this, I would instead be doing a Wuthering Waves event or exploration or something like that. Or the time spent in Wuthering Waves makes me not do something else in another game, which I would then do instead of this. You know, just because of time constraints. You know, like, maybe if I was doing Wuthering Waves this patch, I wouldn't have been able to get to Skirk's character quest, so I'd be doing Skirk's character quest instead at this point. So, instead of doing it like a week ago or something. So, yeah. It's hard to like balance all these things. And that's why I just kind of stopped with Wuthering Waves, because it was like, you know what? They constantly have problems with their story. It makes it really hard to stay immersed when they keep contradicting themselves. And they can't keep continuity within their own quests. And the character designs are not like super amazing. Like, they're not amazing. Like, basically, Wuthering Waves is a copy of Genshin and does everything worse except combat. Combat is better than Genshin, but every other aspect is worse. The story is worse. The environment is worse. The music is worse. You know? And the only thing they do better is combat. But even still, it's not like Genshin combat is bad. Some people might complain Genshin combat is easy. And sure, when you have a bunch of limited characters, sure, it is easy. But it is just more simplistic and gives you more freedom, where it's like, yeah, you just you have a lot more freedom, because it's like it's all about elemental reactions. So it's like you don't need specific characters. You just build around a specific reaction. Whereas like Wuthering Waves was like, no. If you get Zani, if you don't have Phoebe, that's like a 50% damage reduction, like, or something like that. It was insanely good. It was like Spectro Rover versus Phoebe. Like Phoebe gives Zani a 20 to 30% power boost or something like that, which is like insane. And they just keep doing that, right? Like they introduce Shakona, and it's like, oh yeah, she boosts wind. Well, who benefits from that? Oh, Cartithia, the very next patch. So it's like, oh, okay, well, and like, I bet the power diff, like the damage that Cartithia can do, drastically changes depending if you have Shakona in your team. If you don't, it's probably like a big drop. So they just made so many characters so necessary to maximize character power, which is shit. It feels like shit, you know? When like you're not building around a specific thing. I mean, you could argue, yes, you kind of are. Like, for Zani, you're building around Spectrofrazzle, and that's why Phoebe's so good, is because she can do a lot of Spectrofrazzle super quick and get max stacks, which Zani needs. And no other characters can't do it as well or as easily or as fast. So that's why Phoebe is such a huge power boost. And that just becomes a problem. Is that when you're trying to like introduce all these little tidbits of combat, you make like what they end up doing is they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna have Spectrofrazzle, so we're gonna make Phoebe really good at that. And so any team that involves Spectrofrazzle needs Phoebe. Same for like Air Erosion. If you're gonna have an Air Erosion team, you're gonna need Shakona because she boosts Air Erosion damage. Like you introduce these effects and these boosters for those effects, because you don't have that many characters. You're pretty much saying, hey, yeah, you need to buy these limited characters or else your team will be shit. And they don't introduce like 4-star versions. There's no 4-star. I mean, you could argue Spectro Rover can introduce Spectrofrazzle. They can. They're not really good at it. But there's no like 4-star character that's like a 4-star Phoebe, right? There's no 4-star character that only does Spectrofrazzle. Like that would be fine if you did that, right? If you made a 4-star Spectro character that like is really good at ramping up Spectrofrazzle damage or Spectrofrazzle stacks, but like otherwise doesn't really do much damage, that would be fine. Like, it's like, sure, she's there just to enable Zani, and it's a 4-star, so you could like build her and shit like that. But like, no, it's always just limited characters that need other limited characters to boost their damage because they're so focused around one particular aspect of combat, and only that new limited character is designed to amplify it. and it's just like, wow, that feels like shit, you know? Where you get a brand new character, you're like, oh my god, I really like this character, I really want this character, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, because you didn't get Phoebe, Zani's useless. Not really useless, but like, Zani's much more annoying to play and not as nearly as powerful because you didn't get Phoebe. Because you didn't really care about Phoebe. And it's like, that's fucking annoying. And in a game where like combat is more challenging, it matters. And so it feels, whereas like for Genjin, it's like, nah, just get the character you want, right? Save up, find the character you really, really like, get her, and then, you know, you're good to go. You don't need to get the, like if you really like Skirk, you can get Skirk. You don't need a Scofier. Now, Scofier obviously will ramp up her damage a shitload, but like any freeze team is fine with Skirk. You know? You could use 4-star Ice and Cryo and Hydro characters, no problem. Sure, the Scofier really boosts freeze teams in general, but like, it's not required for her kit. Although I think this is a bad example because like I think Escoffier is in the similar vein of what Wuthering Waves does, is that they made a character that's essentially super vital. Like the damage with Escoffier and without for Skirk is night and day. So, but also it's mostly because Freeze Team just really underperforms, and so you kind of need Escoffier just to like boost Freeze Team. So that's only on one reaction. Like you have shitloads of other characters that don't need other characters. There's a lot of, there are a lot of teams that still use 4-star characters as part of their rotation, right? And hell, there's still people clearing Spiral Abyss with only 4 stars. So it's like, clearly they've designed combat well, where, you know, you don't need to spend. Whereas Wuthering Waves is like, nah, because combat is so challenging, you kind of need to. Or you have to be, you know, in the top 1 percentile of skill to do it all 4-star team and succeed in like the Spiral Abyss equivalent of Wuthering Waves. Whereas like you just need to be in like the top 20% skill of Genshin to do 4-star teams. Maybe even lower, but I'm not gonna try to guess. But so like it just goes to show you, it's like, yeah, the skill ceiling is lower in Genshin, so it's not nearly as required because you can just, you know, use other characters instead. So, yeah. And then I think Genshin's existed for a long time, so they introduced lots of characters, and they have lots of characters. And they started with a big, healthy roster of 4-stars that were useful, whereas, like, Wuthering Waves 4-stars are kind of shit. Like, they were always kind of shit. Like, you used Bai Shi because, like, she was just a 4-star healer, and that was it. But if you ever got Farina, you just never use Bai Shi again. And, like, all the other 4-stars are kind of like, Chixia kind of sucks, Mortefi kind of sucks, the suit dude sucks, Electro suit dude. Chao Chi is like, no one uses ever, like they're just so weird, and like, no one ever uses them, and it's just like, and they don't really work well together with any of the 5-stars either, so it's like, it's not like they just kind of made them like these generic units, and then all like the 5-stars they later introduced were like, no, we're going to specialize them in one specific thing, and so like the generic units never fit well in with them because they're just generic, and you need to revolve around certain specific things. Like the only 4-star that actually gets in play is Sanwa because of her outro skill to boost like basic attack damage by a shitload. So like that really helps, and like, she's like the only one that's actually used, and that's simply because she's super quick on field, and you get her the fuck off. You bring her on, you do her skill and burst, then you pop her off for the outro skill, and that's it. So it's like the only reason she's there is just for the outro skill buff, and that's it. And like none of the other characters were designed in a way that helps anybody to the point where you actually use them. So it's just disappointing. But okay, either way, I've been saying too long ranting, so I'm gonna have to take a little break. But I will. Let's see. I'll probably be on later today. I'm gonna play more Honkai Star Rail. I was thinking whether to play Honkai Star Rail or Borderlands. I played a little more Borderlands yesterday. I am enjoying it. It's fun. But I want to beat the Honkai Star Rail story because I'm seeing like tons of pictures and shit on Twitter about like story spoilers and shit, or things that could potentially be story spoilers. So I want to get through the Honkai Sarvel's story, so I don't accidentally get spoiled. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.